Bill Belichick, former coach for the New England Patriots, has been caught on camera. I'm not telling tales out of school. This has been widely reported. He was caught on camera leaving someone's home, and people were making jokes about this at the Tom Brady roast. We now know he was leaving the home of a 24-year-old former cheerleader who apparently is his girlfriend. Bill Belichick is 72 years old. The cheerleader, 24 years old. I know there's going to be some portion of guys in the audience whose response to this story will be, nice. Yeah, Bill. But there are going to be a lot of people who are kind of laughing about this, who are either disgusted by this or find it very funny and ridiculous, or find it both disgusting and ridiculous and will laugh but also recoil at the story. Now, this gal, I also won't say her name. It's reported, I guess, she previously dated a 64-year-old, so, she has a type. She has a type, and who knows how she developed that type, and probably not the most normally ordered thing, but okay, fine. I don't even want to talk about Belichick or his girlfriend, or I don't mean any shade to Bill Belichick. He's a very talented coach. The reason the story interests me is because it shows you the inescapability of the moral order. This guy has everything. He is one of the winningest coaches in the history of sports. He's rich. He's famous. He's a cool guy. He's got all these accomplishments. And now he's the butt of jokes. And he's the butt of jokes specifically because he's doing something that in his own mind makes him really cool. He's the butt of jokes because he's getting so much pleasure. He's the butt of jokes because he's indulging himself so much. It's not even like he got caught doing something that is broadly considered, disgusting or degrading or so. He got caught doing something that's so indulgent, that's so decadent that it diminishes him and it makes him look ridiculous. There's no way for a 72-year-old guy to be dating a 24-year-old girl. No matter how cool that guy is or accomplished or whatever, there's no way. You see those two out on a dinner date and you're going to laugh. You're going to feel sorry for both parties involved. People they're still making fun of him. You can have it all. You can have money, you can have fame, you can have accomplishments. You can't escape the moral order. It's going to be there. People think, oh, well, now that I've made X amount of money, I can get away with this. Now that I'm this famous, I can get away with that. You can't. You can't. The moral order is there, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. Now, speaking of disorder, though, that then became ordered romantic relationships, you've got to check out my sit down on Michael and with Lex and Nick Rennick. Check out the teaser. You identified as a man on hormones. You, Nick, identified as a homosexual. So you got
gay married.
Yeah, because we truly didn't think that the way that we were living was wrong.
You came out as a lesbian, not as
First, yes. My own mother looked me in the eye and said, if I would have known that you were going to be my child, I would have aborted you. I go over to my mom and she's pouring her glass of wine and I say it. I finally get it out of my mouth. And she says, that's why you're a freak. It was like my innocence was ripped away. All this confusion came in.
I feel for every teen boy that is struggling with all of these emotions and feelings and desires.
So I fell on my face and I just cried out to God and I said, make me sexually attracted to a man.
You both acknowledge the desire is real, so do you still have the desires? Watch the episode now on the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. Be sure to watch the uncensored versions on Spotify and ad-free on Daily Wire Plus. A lot of this LGBT stuff spreads through social media as a kind of, that's why the LGBT identification among Zoomers has reached 30% right now. That's why it tripled within 5 years. It's either, there's chemicals in the water turning the frogs, which actually there are those too, or it's so this then calls our attention to a study. A new study just came out on how young people are processing information online, because it's different from the way that older people, boomers, Gen X, maybe even millennials, are processing information online. There's a report on this in Business Insider. It's based on a study done by Jigsaw, which is a subsidiary company of Google. Here is what the CEO of Jigsaw said. Within a week of actual research, we threw out the term information literacy. So this idea of how do you how do you know to process information? How do you sift between what kind of information is valuable and valid and what is false and worthless? They use that term information literacy. Well, that term doesn't even really apply to Zoomers. Why? Because according to Jigsaw, Zoomers are not on a linear journey to evaluate the veracity of anything. Instead, they are engaged in information sensibility, a socially informed practice that relies on folk heuristics of credibility, rules of thumb, interpretive principles to figure out credibility. So lots of science-y jargon to get at what? What are they trying to say? What Jigsaw is discovering is that Zoomers are taking in information and determining its credibility based on the comments. They're going to jump straight to the comment section and they're going to see what people are saying. Because in the comment section, we have what is sometimes referred to as weaponized autism. you have people with extreme skill or technical expertise or just a lot of time on their hands and a nerdy kind of instinct to go look up all this information. And so if there is something false in an article, it'll be debunked in the comment section right away. And we expect the algorithm to bump up those comments that are so incisive. We expect to see those at the top. And so Zoomers, according to Jigsaw, they're going to read the headline. They're not going to read all or even most of the article. They're not going to then go look in an encyclopedia to verify the information that they read in the article. No, they're going to jump to the comments. They're going to outsource the fact checking and the verification to random people on the internet. And they're going to trust that the random people on the internet are going to do the fact checking for them and it's going to be pretty reliable. Okay. Why is that? According to this study, the old guard is like, yeah, but you have to care ultimately about the truth. The Gen Z take is, you can tell me your truth and what you think is important. What about the truth? You just tell me your truth. And that's why we're going to farm it out to all these different individuals. And the study seems to be lamenting the fact that Zoomers think this way. I don't know why they're lamenting that. This is how Zoomers have been taught. Zoomers from preschool have been taught that there is no such thing as the truth. There's only your truth and there's my truth. And truth is kind of whatever you want it to be, man. They've been taught that reason is unreliable. They've been taught to defer not to tradition, which is what I think is a sensible thing to do when we recognize we all have a relatively small portion of reason in our brains. No. They've been taught to defer then to the irrational will, whatever you want. If today you want to be a woman, if tomorrow you want to be a dinosaur, well, you just are that thing, and everyone has to acquiesce to the tyranny of your will. And that's going to supplant the truth. That's going to become your truth because you're going to club people on the head if they don't go along with your supposed truth. So this is how Zoomers have been taught, and now Zoomers are thinking and acting in a way that is in accord with what they've been taught since they were in diapers. Yeah, there's no surprise there. And furthermore, this folk heuristic of credibility, namely listening to what the people you trust say about it, is not the worst idea. That's actually a pretty smart heuristic. Because you don't have time to go through all the scientific and philosophical papers to analyze and examine every single article you read. But two, we know that the so-called, credible establishment news sources are totally full of it, and they push lies, like the lie that Donald Trump called Nazis fine people in Charlottesville, and they push them for 7 years before they ever even admit, okay, maybe we lied about that. So the fact that Zoomers don't believe the So now they're going to trust the people that they follow, the influencers and their friends and their networks, to do some of that work for them. And frankly, that would be a pretty good idea. That was a great clip. Now, hold up. Ring the bell. Ring it. Ring that bell. Subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.